So welcome to Priority Properties Unlocked, the show about wealth building. Today we have Kevin from Avrion Wealth, who is a financial planner and advisor. Everyone wants to try and get into the property market, but you can't do this if you're not investing your money correctly. So hopefully with a few tips and tricks that you learn today, you'll be able to crack into the property market and build your wealth for early retirement. So I know a lot of people on the different ends of budgeting, and basically some of them budget like every single dollar. They put it all into different buckets in their bank account. But others I know don't do any budgeting at all and just spend money on whatever they like, jet ski, new ute, whatever it is. And I just want to know, like, what's your thought on budgeting, and is it all hype or is it worthwhile?
Cash flow management or budgeting is actually the foundation of good financial planning. So if you don't know where your money is going and you have no control over your own money, then it's just going to go to someone else's pocket. So there's different ways that you can budget, and some people are comfortable with, say, a set regimented, check it off on the spreadsheet type budget. And others like to do it more fluid, where you have a set limit on how much you're going to spend and you try not to go over the limit. There's a number of different methods out there you can use. The one that I prefer is actually, we're all trying to get to a point of creating wealth, and so we want to be able to retire comfortably or just have a few things or be able to afford a few things that we haven't been able to afford in the past. So paying yourself first is one of the most important philosophies that I ascribe to, is working out how much do you need to pay yourself. And it's not like pay yourself to go and party, it's pay the future you so that you can enjoy your retirement and you can create the wealth and buy property or buy investment assets. And that starts early, because if you can assign a percentage of your income to literally creating future wealth, and you do that from the day you start earning, it'll become a habit. And habits that are ingrained, you will keep that up. So I'd say, pay yourself first, set aside a certain amount of money each pay, and then that's what you will use to create future wealth.
And as a rule of thumb, what percentage of my income should I put to the side for investing?
That's a good one, and it's always hard to come up with an exact percentage. Everybody's different, so you might be going through a life stage where you're having kids and you're now on a single income, and some of the metrics are save 20%. It's like, well, how are we saving 20%? We can barely pay for nappies and stuff. So if you start more disciplined and you actually write down how you are currently spending money and how your money is flowing, that'll give you an idea as to how much of a percentage you can allocate to investing and preparing for the future. On that same note, it's also important to allocate a portion to actually doing things today. I've worked with someone who's trying to get themselves out of a lot of debt, and it is a lot of debt, but we have actually still assigned money to go on holidays. And it will take longer because with the debt is the priority, but we are still having money set aside each month so that will pay for their annual holiday. And it's not a lavish holiday, it's just to take time out, because you can't just be focused on one thing.
Yeah, so I guess the amount that you need to set aside is going to change with what's going on in your life, and you also have to make time to do things like go on holidays, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So then it doesn't have to be such a strict budget that you can't do anything, but it's just within reason. Put a bit to the side as much as you can.
Yeah, the ideal would be 20%. So if you really want to be able to grow wealth quicker than everybody else, because the important thing there as well is superannuation for everybody is 12%. And if all you are doing is your superannuation and you're not setting up investments or you're not looking to do anything extra, you'll get to the finish line the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
So if you do a bit extra, then you can. So 20% is the figure that, statistically will give you the biggest uptick in your overall wealth. But I think if you just come back down to working out how much is right for you to spend and then work within your budget, because it's not the same for everyone. We don't all make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So.
Yeah. And so if I have a really big credit card debt because I've been a little bit frivolous with my money, keeping up with the Joneses, what kind of strategy would you suggest to get rid of this debt?
Well, first, stop adding to the debt. So once you've realised you've got yourself in a bit of a debt hole, now's the time to then stop adding to it. Then it's important to know how much the interest is on credit cards, because some credit cards are 19% interest. So if you are making, trying to get a hit on top of that, and all you're doing is trying to make the minimum of payments, you'll never catch up with your credit card at 20%. There's no real investments out there which can consistently give you 20%. There's some that do that from time to time, but there's no investment out there that's going to get you a 20% on your money. So going back to your budgeting and looking how you assign money, you then need to look at, well, do I need to take from some of the other areas where I'm spending money and use that to get rid of the credit card debt? And then chunking it down into like a realistic goal. The other important thing you can do, you can actually refinance that credit card and you can go to another bank, and there's a lot of them that have that transfer process. So if you've got a high credit card, you can actually get high credit card interest rate. You can get a balance transfer, and then you can get a 0% interest rate.
Oh, wow.
That'll help you to get on top of it a lot quicker. So the important thing is to cancel the old credit card, because some of the banks aren't strict on you cancelling the other card, and then we have seen people that have ended up with 3 or 4 credit cards because they just kept the other ones open in case of an emergency. So it's important to cancel a credest card.
And I guess when you cancel it, you get rid of the temptation to use it to impulse buy something else, just feed the problem.
Improves your credit score if you're looking to buy a property. So,
Definitely. So I have a lot of friends who like a few years out from uni, and I guess with their student loans, it's indexed to inflation, but inflation has been quite high, and some people got hit with that 7% interest. So would you recommend that people pay off their student loans in full early, or is it better to invest that money and try and make some money on top of it?
It really depends on what is the interest rate, the net interest rate of the student loan. So I think the Albanese government forgave some debts there as well, and they took some away. But yeah, if you know what the interest rate is and you know what you are aiming for in the future, I know it's a bit of a throwaway, but it depends. It depends on how much you're earning and how much you're saving. And, if you are struggling to invest to begin with, then possibly get the debt down. But if you have a set strategy where you're wanting to build up some savings, then if that is invested and returning you a strong return and not just sitting in a 1% bank account, then yes, you should invest. But if your money is just sitting in savings in a bank account and it's not making you money, then the interest is costing you more than the money that's sitting in your bank account is making you. So,
for beginners who are sort of trying to invest for the first time, can you explain what ETFs are and whether we should invest in them versus like normal stocks, bonds, gold?
Yep, so ETFs are a good way to capture a broad sector of the market or a group of investments. So much like passive investing, where we have index funds and you do get index ETFs as well. ETFs offer that opportunity to buy into a low-cost investment, and so they are quite suitable for first-time investors to learn how to invest. That said, though, there's always investment risk. So your investments that you are investing in, the important thing is to not just look at what is the return done, because especially today, if you had to go look back over the last 12 and 24 months, everything is green and everything's just going one way, and it looks like it's all going up, and it's almost regardless of what investment you're looking at. So you also need to understand the metrics of the ETF that you're investing in. What is actually inside that ETF and what are you actually buying. It's easier to get a diverse range of investments using ETFs than it is to go and individually buy a bunch of shares and gold. And you can buy gold ETFs, you can buy mining ETFs, you can buy, clean energy ETFs. So it's important to have a look and research that and not just go on the actual numbers being green and looking like they're doing well.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a lower risk strategy than buying like a particular company, right? Because you kind of can buy into like a few companies in the industry. So like if one company goes bust for some reason, then
100%.
You don't lose all of your money.
Yeah. So by having your investments spread around, you may not get the great returns of some single investment options out there, but you actually have mitigated some of the risk of you losing money as well. So, with a blended ETF portfolio, let's just say you had a top 200 stock portfolio you're using. That's the top 200, companies in, say, the ASX. What that is capturing is 200 different investments, and you own little minute portions of that. Now, there's different ETFs, and they mean different things. We won't go into that. But if you were to go and buy, some stocks, and you just say you're investing $1,000 at a time, and you go and buy some, Commonwealth Bank, or you buy some other share that might be doing something, if you haven't done your due diligence and your research, there is the potential that some of the smaller stocks that are the ones which appeal to a lot of people could go to zero, and they could close, and you could lose your money. So if there are people that are wanting to buy investments and have particular individual stocks they're buying, I would always recommend they research those themselves. I think it's Warren Buffett who said when he was researching stocks to buy, he would pretend he's buying the whole company, and so he would research it as if he was buying the whole company, because you are when you're buying an individual stock. You have to do that. With ETFs, however, you are buying a blend of stocks. It's still important to know what's in there, though.
Yeah, definitely. So I recently saw some software called Moomoo, and I think there's a few of them. I'm not sure if you're aware of these things, but they basically like micro investing, and they tell you like, if you invest $10 a day or a week or something, then you can buy like a portion of a share, and then over time you make money. Yeah. So do you use these, and what do you think of them?
I've never heard of Moomoo, so I'll be honest. But I've heard of Raise. And
they're all similar.
Yeah, they're all similar. And so, yes, it's a good way to start on the investment ladder. But again, it's just being mindful of knowing what you're investing in. I think today it's so easy to just click a button and buy something that most people just do it, and they take all of 3 seconds to research it. So I think our attention span is quite short. We're talking about this earlier. Our attention span is very short at the moment, and so we think we can make an educated decision in a moment, and sometimes if it is a lot of money, I know with Raise it's a little bit of money, but it is also important to make sure you've done that due diligence and you've researched it. But it's a good option to learn how markets work. So for younger people, it's easier to invest little bits, and then you can kind of see what's happening and how it's working, and why is it doing that. And I think the important question to ask is always why. Like, why is it doing that? Why has it gone up? Why has it gone down? What factors are influencing it? Because, with certain investments, a lot of it is based on just whether or not everyone's doing it or not. Yeah,
so, all hype.
All the hype, and everyone's doing it at one time and it's gone up. So, and then there's no substance behind it to prop up that valuation. So.
Yeah, and what tools are out there that we can use that are readily available to average people so they can understand whether something's going up for company reasons, good business reasons, or just hype because everyone wants to buy Dogecoin and it's, Elon Musk has tweeted about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always hard because there's a lot of disinformation out there, and it's going to continue. With AI, it's just there's going to be more. I literally had an email from a client this morning telling me he saw that Barry Humphries was investing in crypto and there's $3 million in there, and so he's a good thing to get into that. And it took me about 5 seconds to find out that it was fake, and so that whatever that Barry Humphries thing article was fake. So there's no such thing. But there's always something out there which is going to catch our attention, and we're going to think, this sounds like a good idea.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And there's no real way to make like money quick unless you're just lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what tools were you using to uncover that was like not a real situation?
Well, that was just me using ChatGPT asking a question.
Cool.
And then just doing a couple of Googles. But so if you're looking to get research information on stocks and you want to find out more about it, there are a number of tools out there. There's a few free ones, like Yahoo Finance is a good one. That has got some articles that you can read, and you can read up a bit about the economy as well. There is something called Morningstar as well. We use Morningstar for research as an investment house. We also use a bunch of others which the average person won't have access to. But Morningstar is also one where you can pay and you can get a membership and you can research. The other one is if you are looking at direct stocks, you can have, through whoever is your brokerage. So if Commonwealth Bank, or if they're using NAB as an example, then there would also be information in there. They can access detailed information about the stocks they are buying as well.
Yeah, so I'd easily be able to see, like with GameStop, that the business performance wasn't great, but then it was just totally hype pushing the value up.
Yeah. Well, you might not easily be able to see that, but what you would need to look at is just a few of the underlying figures that we would look at for: is the growth of that company sustainable? Is it actually going to be paying out a dividend? What's the earnings per share if there is dividend payments? A number of other metrics, but you'd be able to see shortly with a bit of research that it's not necessarily the company's value that's bringing up this growth in GameStop. It was obviously a bit of a hype and
a bit of a meme online.
And some Reddit stuff.
Yeah. So how do I protect myself from online scams? And like we've all heard of like Bitcoin pump and dump schemes where people have invested and then the people who created it have just like vanished and taken all the money with them. Obviously not the same risk in stocks, but I guess there's still some scams out there.
There are always scams, and there'll be more of them now with unfortunately AI being able to literally make videos that look like celebrities and people.
Scary.
It's going to be really interesting. It's going to move away from just an article to a literal video of someone saying how good something is. So I think the main thing is just we have to exercise common sense, and that if we're feeling pressured, time bound to make a decision and it has to be quick, otherwise we're going to miss out on something. That is also usually a really good indication that it's something you need to actually take a pause and look into it a bit more and give it time. So yes, we've spoken about timing of investments and the importance of it, but it's not usually a 20-day thing. If you're going to buy an investment portfolio and it's going to be for the long term, you don't need to be urgent. You don't need to be like jumping in and making a decision. I can tell you, all the major investors around the world don't decide something within 5 minutes while sitting on the toilet reading a news feed. I think it's the important thing with scammers out there is if it feels like you're pressured into it, and if it feels like or it sounds like it's a bit too good to be true, just take a moment and do the research and look it up and see if it is what it says it's going to be, and then verify from other sources as well. I know social media is feeds whatever you are looking into, so you can go down the rabbit hole pretty quickly. Just make sure you do your research, and then if it's someone who's, like the other important thing is it could be a fake person trying to sell you something. Research them, research their company, research their, license numbers, look them up on, financial advisors. We've got a ASIC financial advisor register. Other professionals have similar things. They have to be registered. So check and see if they are real, and then see if the message aligns to what you see on social media or from them, and also their websites and stuff like that.
Yeah, and instead of going for a get-rich-quick scheme, I get, like, how long should I hold my shares for? Should I be aiming to, like, never see that money again until I retire, or...
So my view of investments, and it comes back to that, when we're talking about how you assign your income, and if you decide that, yes, I'm going to live on and 90% of everything I make, and I'm going to invest 10% or 20%, or that's an easy metric to start with. So we'll just assume that someone's going to do 10%. And then the ideal would be that whatever that 10% is getting invested in will always be an investment until you decide you don't want to work anymore. And so, the relevance to share investing from a wealth creation side is like, yes, when you start out, ETFs and shares and those sorts of investments are great because you can invest little bits of your money over time. It's not like going and buying $1 million property where you're like heavily leveraged.
Yeah.
But you can build that investment to a point where you're like, well, now I've got $200,000 or $100,000, and I now want to use that to leverage into a bigger asset like a property. And so that's still invested money, and it's still invested, and it's going into a property to continue that investment. So investing is for the long term. It's for 30, 40 years. Like your superannuation is a good example. That's invested, well, it should be until the day you die. Like if you are investing money in super now and you're 20, 25 years old or 40 or 45 years old, you still can't touch it until you're 60, 65. And when you get to 65, it's highly unlikely you should be putting all of that money out to go and pay off your debts and pay off things. What you should have done is make sure that when you get to that point, now this pool of money that's in your superannuation, and whether it's in property and super or shares or however you've invested it, that's going to now give you a income that you can retire on, and it should be able to do that until the day you die.
So with super, there's a lot of hype around taking money from your super, doing a self-managed super fund and buying property with it. What's your opinion on this? I think like the standard is everyone thinks this is a great idea, and
again, that's very circumstantial. It depends. My opinion is you need to do a lot of research and due diligence into it, because what you are doing is, if you've got a superannuation fund, and even if you're just in a growth investment or high growth, you are still invested very broadly across a range of different investments. And then when you take out, the $200,000 that you might have there to go and buy a property, and you put that down as a deposit, now you're going, well, I'm taking all of these other investments and I'm going to buy this one investment, and in this one place, in this one location, and I'm going to make, well, hopefully that then goes up. So, and yes, we're in Australia, the property market is very strong, but people get it wrong. Or, I've seen it many times. We have people buying overvalued properties in mining towns, and, or buying what they perceive to be an undervalued property in a small town that nothing ever happens. And so it's all relevant to, the research you need to do, and, consult with property professionals who can actually say, yep, if you're going to do it, maybe look at this sort of an option. For me, the one of the best or better uses of property in a self-managed super fund is if you are running a business and you own your commercial property in the business, because that is the only time you're allowed to use your property. If you had a residential property, you can't then move into it in your super fund. you'll get taxed at the highest marginal tax rate. There'll be penalties. If you have a holiday house, there's rules and stuff that apply to it. You can't use it. Your family can't use it. So it's really restrictive with the rules. And also with a self-managed super fund, your responsibilities as a trustee are the same as the big super funds. You have the same responsibilities to look after your members' money, even if it is your own money. So, you can be in trouble if you don't do something right, and you can be in a lot of trouble. So, I'd say you've got to make sure that if you are going to look at a self-managed super fund, you'd be looking at using professionals to help you. Find the right investment property and make sure that the super account is set up the right way, and then continually managed the right way. So SMSFs can be quite expensive to manage, but they also can be really good investment vehicles as well. So
yeah, definitely. And I think when you buy in a company or a trust, the land tax threshold is a lot lower. So it's like $350,000 instead of $600,000. So you could end up with a big land tax bill every year as well.
Potentially, yeah. That's where you've always got to be, wherever you buy this property, say, you've always got to be across the rules and regulations for the state it's in as well. That's also important. Yeah,
exactly. Can you walk us through an example of, I guess, two investors, one who's invested 5 years before the other and getting a return of around 6%, let's say, and whether they're better off in the long run if they just invest for the 5 years and then stop investing versus someone who waits 5 years and then invests all the way until retirement?
Yeah. The basic rule of investing is it's time. So time over timing the market. So a lot of people think you can time the market where you take money out, you put it back in at the right time. Yeah. If you miss out on one or two of the best days' returns, you will not have a fantastic overall return on your portfolio. Time in the market is the amount of time that the money's been invested for. And if you were to delay investing by 5 years and your plan was to invest over 30 years, then you could be hundreds of thousands of dollars short when you get to the finish line. And the example of two different people is a common one that we've used, where you have two people investing money, and let's say the first person puts $500 away a month, and they'll invest that for say 8 years or 7 years, and then person two is spending the $500 a month on a new car or something. There's the standard uni examples I think they give out there. Yeah. And then that person, after 6 or 7 years, sees his friend's portfolio and goes, "Oh wow, you've got $80,000. That's fantastic. I'm going to start to do that now too." When your investment gets to a point where the return is actually going to equal what your initial investment is, in this case, let's say it was $6,000 a year. If the return is $6,000 a year now on average, then your mate that's going to start investing $6,000 a year is not going to catch you. Even if you stop. You can stop investing at that point, and they will never catch you statistically. I mean, the market goes up and down, but it is a good indicator of how investing earlier on and the power of compounding returns, where your 8% or 10% return you had is now working on the interest that's made you, the return.
Yeah, that's absolutely mind-blowing to think about. I'm I should have invested 5 years ago.
We all should have invested. Invested more earlier, yeah.
I guess the second best time is right now.
Exactly, yeah.
And you feel you get the same feeling from the property market as well. I have people who I know who are first-home buyers at the moment, and they're every year it gets more and more out of reach because the market keeps going up. So it's maybe they should have invested in stocks instead of just having this cash in the bank, and then it would have gone up at least a little bit, rather than what you get from your bank, which is basically nothing.
Yeah, I'd say one little piece of general advice is, if you are saving to buy a property, it's and it's going to be a longer time investment before you buy, it's probably not good to just leave it in cash. It's, cash is what, 2 or 3% if you're lucky. Inflation is the same. So it just means that the real value of your money is the same. It's not actually doing anything for you. Like if you're investing it, even if the market goes up and down, or goes down rather, it's been going up for 2 years, but if the market's going down, you're then still buying. When you're investing regularly, you're buying for a cheaper price as well. And so then when it turns and changes, as it ebbs and flows, then you will get that growth as well. So 100% you want to be investing rather than just sitting in cash.
Yeah, and I think probably the status quo is just to keep the money in the bank, and that's what I see a lot of people do. So probably the key takeaway from this whole interview is like invest your money in something that's low risk, and then you'll still be better off. You don't want to be that guy who's waited 5 years and then never catches up.
Yeah, you want to try and get on the front foot, and then I'll just low risk ETFs. Everything you're investing is still risk. My takeaway there is the risk is not the investment. If you're in ETFs or a blended portfolio, the risk is that you need the money when the valuation isn't at the right place.
Yeah.
So it's that, if you have a look at the general share market, it should never go to zero unless really, really bad stuff happens. But if you're looking at, you've got a blended portfolio and your time frame is quite long, like we're going to buy a property in 7 or 8 years, we're going to start saving now, and you want to make sure that you put that money away rather regularly, and just be mindful that the risk is that you might need the money when the market isn't ready, and you are. So then you have to delay taking the money out, because the only time you actually make money when you invest is when you sell, and the only time you lose money is when you sell.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you have to commit to putting that percentage of your salary away and never touching it again, basically, whether it's in stocks or property or whatever it is. Like that money is gone. It's basically in a second super.
Yeah. It's just a mindset to do that. But yeah, you're right.
So I think because of social media, TikTok trends, you see a lot of talk about credit rating and young people going out and getting credit cards just so that they have a credit history to impact their credit score. Do you think this is a good strategy, or is it all internet hype?
Well, to be honest, if you need to borrow money and a big bank can't see that you've ever borrowed money before, they don't actually know how good your credit behaviour is. So you might find that, yes, it's good to have a credit history.
Well, something that I've been through recently while refinancing a loan is the banks actually have a lot of technology where they ask for your every single bank account that you have. And so they're actually looking at the transactions and what you're spending your money on to see what kind of lifestyle you're living. So if you're spending money on your credit card on, shopping online, and Uber Eats is a big one that they're looking at, and, multiple cars that are, where you're living outside of your means, maybe you got like an AMG on the lease or something like that, then, it's actually going to work against you because there's more data saying that you're not living like a good budgeted lifestyle. Yeah.
I know for a fact that with the open banking, it is going to become more like that. And I'd imagine that, again, with AI becoming what it is, it will be more scrutiny on how you're spending your money and whether or not you can actually afford a loan. With people that try to live outside their means, I'd say they're probably going to try and get the max amount of debt to buy a home. And I'd say that is, from a financial planning point of view, you'd want to be making sure you can actually afford to pay for the house you're going to live in. So while the banks do have extra scrutiny, You should also be, as an individual trying to get onto the property ladder, should be making sure that your spending actually aligns with how much you want to borrow, because you don't want to get into a position where you've now bought the $1 million house that's got $900,000 worth of debt and costs you a fortune, and then now you can't continue to live a similar lifestyle to what you were living because you have to eat 2-minute noodles, and you can't do online shopping. But is then what that leads to is then credit card debt, and living outside your means is unfortunately not a good thing, and the banks are trying to catch it because, we have seen an increase in the amount of people that will live in a house for a couple of years and then sell it because they can't afford it.
Yeah, and then you're paying stamp duties and other taxes, So I guess, it's okay to have a credit card if you're very disciplined and you're going to just buy, groceries and your gym membership and pay them off. But you have to watch out for the temptation of touching the money to buy, impulse things that maybe you've seen ads on TikTok, and you're buying new activewear and bits and pieces that you don't need. So I guess you should think of it in that way, where it's am I disciplined enough that I'm not going to touch that money for something that I don't need? But overall, I think it's probably not worthwhile just to get a credit rating.
Yeah. Just to get a credit rating, if you need one, you can go and buy something on credit and then pay it off, and you don't have to use it again. I think these days it would be up to the bank you're going to use, and oftentimes I'd say talk to a broker, get a broker to help you with your lending, to work out whether or not that's something you need to do. Unfortunately with credit cards, the one thing which a lot of people fall into is if you've got a $10,000 limit, or they think they have $10,000 they can spend, and they might not be able to afford the $10,000, and so then they get into that hole we were talking about earlier, and now you've spent your $10,000 and you're paying $2,000 a year in interest repayments, and you trying to pay the credit card down, but as soon as you put money in, and then the interest gets added on, and you're just going to struggle. So it comes back full circle to, the financial planning 101 is cash flow, and it's to know how you manage your money, where's it going, and how are you going to manage spending it in the future. And so, budgeting, it's unfortunately, it should be a 4-letter word, because I also don't like to restrict spending, but at the same time it can give you more freedom, because if you can manage your cash flow smarter, you can have more freedom to also do the things that you want to do. So like we said, if you have a amount that you can allocate to holidays every year, and you might work out that based on your incomes you can afford to put away $300, $400 a month, and you want to do a $5,000 holiday, well, in 12 months time you can do that, and it's better to do it that way than go and borrow on the credit card and go and spend all the money and then come back and then try and pay that down. And so I think it comes back to management of money is the most important thing, and it's all the way through to retirement. We have cash flow discussions with our retirees where we talk about the importance of making sure that your money lasts you now through retirement, but also still giving them the freedom to spend what they want to spend, especially in the early stages of retirement. Just managing it through cash flow.
Definitely. And how much money does the average person need to retire in their super fund?
That's an interesting one. Again, it depends, because we have people who have beer budgets living champagne lifestyles, and that will get finished up pretty quick. Interestingly, what the government would determine as a comfortable level in retirement is today $72,000, I think it is, a year. And that's, of course, if you don't have a debt. So if you have still got a mortgage, then that's not going to be sufficient. And then what that provides you in today's terms is it's comfortable. It allows you to have, private medical, eat out, a night or two a week, or a month rather, and some travel. And, most people might find they might spend more than that on an overseas holiday. You might spend an extra 20 grand and then it's $90,000 a year to be comfortable. So, in terms of what to have in your super today, again, it depends on the individual and how much they want to actually spend when they get to retirement.
Yeah, so I guess you have to optimize having the experiences while you're young, but because maybe you might save all your money up and then not be able to even go on a holiday because your health isn't good. So it's it's always a balance.
I think, and again, that comes into that cash flow discussion that we were having, is you've got to live today as well. You've got to put money away today. Like I was saying, the client that's got quite a bit of debt yes, you want to get on top of your debt, but don't stop living because you want to get rid of your debt, and don't stop living because you want to save up to buy a house. Yes, it now is exceptionally hard to buy a house. I'm from another country originally, so I started again when I was 30. Pretty much, it came over from South Africa. I had to start again, but I've actually got my super to the level where it needs to be for my age. I've been putting extra away. My wife and I have been very diligent about how we manage and spend money. And it's the important thing is also still being able to take time to enjoy it today, because in the world we live in, we never know what's going to happen. So you've got to plan for the future and plan for tomorrow, but also keep one eye in today and make sure you're still living day to day and enjoying life as an experience.
Yeah, and prioritize what's important, because maybe the holidays that you're always going to remember are quite important, but impulse buying, things that you see on ads on social media, probably not going to remember. So just prioritizing.
Yeah, I think one of my clients, actually, we used to call it a holiday fund, and she actually has helped me rename the way I think of it. It's an adventure fund. So it's not everyone wants to go on a holiday, but you might want to have an adventure. And an adventure is different for everyone. So, for some family, it might just be going to the zoo and, having annual passes and going to the zoo every now and again. For another family, it might be going overseas. For another family, it might be going somewhere in Australia. Adventures could be driving that Lamborghini on a weekend. You go pay for that $1,000 package or whatever it is on the Gold Coast, and you drive a Lamborghini for a few hours, and that's one way to do it. And rather than lease one, like some people have done, you get the experience. And so I think you're right. You've got to still look out for yourself today as well, and do things. Don't save everything for when you're 65. But still plan for it. Still plan for it.
Plan for it, but you got to get the timing right for the experience. Maybe not skydiving. Maybe, you never know.
Just make sure your life insurance is up to date.
Yeah. So thanks, Kevin, for joining us on Priority Properties Unlocked. This conversation has been really helpful for me personally. I think I learn something every time I do these interviews. So I'm sure everybody online will be getting a lot out of this discussion. And if you want to get in contact with Kevin and Avrion Wealth, his website link will be at the bottom of the video. Thanks, and see you next time.